welcome to another episode. Today just happens to fall on Valentine's Day. So that's pretty cool whenever a holiday can land on the episode. I'm envisioning right now like a baby in diapers just running around shooting arrows.
I didn't know where you're going with
I don't even know who came up with that concept. I mean, just picturing a little baby in diapers. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that could be nightmare or dream. I don't, we'll get into that later, but we're excited to get into this episode. We have some special guests with us today. So the transformed couples, we are excited to bring them on board. So we're going to dive into that, ask them some questions, and they're going to bring some value on this month of love, I guess we could say.
Oh, yes.
So we'll get started here momentarily. Y'all stay tuned.
All right, welcome back, guys. We are so excited that we have met this couple on Instagram. They're very active on Instagram, helping other couples, and not just regular couples, but blended couples. So we want to take a moment and introduce Garrett and Chelsea from Transformed Couples. Hey guys, welcome to this episode.
Hello. Yes, thank you so much for having us. We are excited to be here, excited to have this conversation, and looking forward to getting to know the both of you better, as well as the viewers that are listening, watching, wherever you're tuning in.
Yeah, for sure. We're so excited to have you on here. As we said, this is a Valentine's Day episode. So, and to have what you're doing, Transform Couples, I mean, normally it's a couples theme, right? That we try to talk on Valentine's Day, and hopefully husbands aren't still trying to run out and get a little something, you know. Hopefully you've already done that, right? And so how did you get into this? So, well, first off, before we do that, let's start out with your family dynamics. What, like us, we're a family, a blended family. We never had any children together, but she came with two and I came with one. Then we blended, and now our kids are old, and you know, it's just been a older, but it's been a beautiful process that we've kind of had. What does it look like in your family right now?
Yeah, for sure. So Garrett and I actually met back in 2014. I have two children, two boys. Now they're 13 and 14. And Garrett's son is 12. So it's exactly the same dynamic as the two of you, actually, which is awesome. And yeah, no, we just honestly, we decided not to have children either. We kind of were like, well, you know, we got our hands full with all these boys running around, and you know, we just kind of decided that we weren't going to pursue that, which, I mean, I think it's great when people have ours babies. We love celebrating couples that do have ours babies together. But actually, instead of having an ours baby, we actually got a puppy last year.
Okay.
She's our little ours baby, because we were like, you know, we wanted a girl, wanted to add a little bit more estrogen in this big household full of testosterone. And yeah, so her name is Harlow. And yeah, so we've got the three boys, 12, 13, and 14. And then our little baby Morky Harlow, who is for a year old.
That's awesome. So yeah, I was fixing to say you sounded a little outnumbered. So there's a lot of boys, especially those teenage years too, right? So you kind of get out of the preteen into the teen. So those are always fun. But yeah, so okay, bringing in the dog. So I like that. That's fun.
Yeah.
We did something similar, but it wasn't a dog. It was an 18-year-old girl. So
okay, that's awesome.
There you go.
It's different, right?
A little different, but that's what we ended up being. Ours baby was an 18-year-old girl from our youth group. So
oh, I love that. That's amazing. We have a lot of like adopted kids too. A lot of our kids' friends are our adopted children too. So very similar actually too, because they're from the youth group as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so y'all are in Canada. So I hear it's a little cold there.
It
Understatement.
is very cold. It's been chilly, but we're working through it. We're making it happen and enjoying whatever warm weather we do get.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's start here. So y'all are running a Transformed Couples. You've got your Instagram and you're on several platforms and stuff. Tell us a little about that and what led you into starting this.
So we actually noticed that when we were blending our family, it was a resource that we didn't have. And so for us, we actually made a lot of mistakes, like a lot of us do when we're blending a family together. And, we reached out to people who maybe necessarily didn't have the background, the same family dynamics, things like that. And, we were given a lot of like decent advice, but never given any relatable advice. And so for us, we really decided that actually it was Garrett who kind of decided to pursue the coaching aspect of things. And when he started doing the relationship coaching, I was like, I'm into this. Like, we can really provide a service that we weren't able to have when we were blending our family. And so we actually went through the process of getting certified together. And, it was quite a long process. Like, I would say it's about over a year that we took with our training and our certification. And we went through the process ourselves and we were like, this is incredible. The resources and the tools that we were trained to now provide to other people are tools that we use in our relationship today. And, it's just something that we really felt could provide value to an area that is growing. And I mean, as maybe unfortunate as people might think that it is, I think that we need to start to, eliminate that stigma around blended families and really just encourage and support them and give them as many tools and resources as you possibly can. And that's kind of, I don't know if Garrett wants to add to that, but that's kind of why we got into what we're doing now.
Yeah, we saw a need, and obviously, blending a family isn't easy. There's so many different dynamics and complexities, and every situation is unique and different depending on, exes and how many kids and backgrounds and values and beliefs and traditions. And, you try to throw all that together and you can really end up in quite a spot. And there's a lot of questions that you've got and a lot of unknowns. So, Chelsea and I really leaned in and wanted to learn and wanted to grow so that we could be stronger as a couple, but also so that the boys who at the end of the day had no say in becoming blended, they could feel some sense of normalcy if that exists. And so, a number of things that we've done throughout the years to just help make that blending experience better than what it could be if we didn't have some of the tools that we do put into practice.
Yeah.
Okay, this question is a little rogue, so I don't know if he's gonna be okay with this. But so I heard y'all we're talking earlier when we were just going back and forth, and you said y'all got married 2 years ago, but y'all been together since 2014. Was that blended family stuff y'all were trying to work through, or just life events? Just curious, like, what took the time to finally say, okay, I do.
Well, there's definitely a lot of contributing factors. One of which was that, Garrett's divorce didn't get finalized until about 2.5 years into our relationship. And not to say that it was bad or messy or anything, it just takes time. And so, Garrett was previously married. I was never married. I was together with my children's father for a few years. But yeah, I mean, for us, it was really just wanting to make sure that our families were compatible. And, we definitely went about things in a bit of a non-traditional way. I mean, we moved in together prior to getting married, and that came with its own set of challenges as well. We definitely feel like, maybe if we could have gone back and done things differently, we might have. But it did give us some things to work through leading up to the decision to get married, because there were some times where we were like, you know what, I don't know, like, this is hard. And we really pushed through some really difficult challenges in our relationship. And, at the end of the day, we did decide to get married, and it's definitely been a shift even since getting married. But I think what took so long was really just, making sure that it was right, making sure that we were compatible, that our kids were going to be compatible in the situation. I mean, we had a lot of rubs with our children. I mean, it was never, for Garrett, his son is an only child. And then my oldest became this like alpha male when I was single and we were living on our own. And so when we combined our households together, the two my oldest and his son really butted heads.
Yeah.
And it was a big, big challenge. Like we almost said, you know what, maybe it's better if we just part ways. Like, you know, I'm like full transparency. Like we were very, you know, open and honest with each other. And we kind of were like, well, maybe if we just, you know, lived separate and still kept dating, and like all these different things came up. And, you know, we just decided to put our relationship first, and our kids eventually followed suit, and they actually are very, very much bros, we'll call it now that we've, you know, decided to stick it out and see it through.
I love that. Yeah, so many couples, it's hard to explain that when they're in the trenches, and it's during that hard season, especially when you love someone so much, but you also love your children, and you see all the stuff that they're struggling through, and it's like, oh, do I put my kid through this? Is this relationship worth it? Like you feel pulled in both ways. But then if you stick it out and you do these certain things, like I'm sure you guys, when you're talking to couples and helping them out, like there are things to do to make it easier and make it come together a little faster. But for a lot of us, we're just out there shooting in the dark, so it takes a little longer. And when you stick it out and you get to that point, though, it is like, thank God, because I believe you're going to have struggles in your relationship regardless. It's just highlighted in a blended family because it seems like there's an out, because there was an out before, it didn't work before. And it's kind of scary to go try that again.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I think, what we've learned and acknowledged in each other, as well as when we've coached couples and had conversations with other blended families, is this desire that the blended family will operate and exist like the first family unit or the traditional family. And, we've accepted and acknowledged our responsibility in the role we played when we were trying to blend, and we wanted it to be a certain way. We wanted the kids to operate a certain way. We wanted relationships to exist in a certain way. And the reality is they don't in a blended family. And I think what we've found is that forcing it and trying to make it something it will not be is going to set people up for trouble. And that's where a lot of the troubles come from, step parent guilt to, step kids refusing to listen or being disobedient or acting out, is because we've found that sometimes everyone's trying to force something that isn't meant to be forced, and it needs to just be acknowledged for what it is. And then growing through, like you said, Scarlett, like let's adapt and let's be flexible versus very rigid and wanting to create something in a certain way, because it doesn't work like that. That's not how blending a family goes. And we've seen our fair share of challenges because of that, not only in our relationship, but other blended families.
For sure. And we definitely did the same thing. We, starting out, really the first 3-4 years of us coming together was just so many differences, like you were talking about, that it is, you're having to work through, navigate, you don't quite understand. Whenever you meet each other, you think everything's going to be great, this fairy tale ending, and you get together and it's like, wait a minute. And we're kind of like the two of you. My daughter was the only child, so it was just me and her for a while. And so she was the one acting out, and causing problems and static and stuff. And there's things that, now she's 22 years old and she's just coming to terms with things she was dealing with back when she was 8 that she didn't know she was struggling with for those years. So it is taking that time, as you're saying, you can't force these relationships, but there are certain things you can do to help and assist and help bring that around full circle. So, and I know at the time that we were together, we lacked resources. We were searching. And as you said, we wanted this to work. And so we're looking for all kinds of information. We're going to our church, we're just searching like, okay, where can we get this information? And so we, books and counseling and pastors and, we're just reaching and grabbing everywhere that we can with the limited resources. And so just love it that now, there is more of a community starting to come together, more coaches coming together and pouring into that blended family community to show, hey, it's okay. There are things you can do, things that you can add to it to make it beautiful, because blended families are beautiful. You know, there's so many of them, right?
There are.
So,
There are.
so yeah, so it's beautiful. But I loved where you said that you decided to work on the two of you, making sure that y'all were good and strong, and then your kids kind of started falling in from that. And that kind of comes to that couple situation, the whole Valentine's, right? Y'all wrote a Valentine's Day blog before. Valentine's Day sucks. So tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like I kind of alluded to off the top, we have never been big Valentine's Day people since the beginning of our relationship. And the reason being, Randall, is really simple. Yes, we love the theme behind Valentine's Day. It's great to highlight one day a year to pour into the person you love.
Yeah.
But we feel really sorry for the couples that feel that, well, it's only a one day a year thing, and then we can just go about our business the other 364 days of the year. No, we believe that love in marriage is required every day. It's a 365-day job, essentially. It's choice love, especially in a blended family. And we've been talking about this term choice love for a while now as a couple, but also with other couples we're coaching, that you wake up every day, you have to choose to love your partner. You mentioned off the top a little bit, Scarlett, like there's going to be trouble. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be tough seasons. And you have to choose to love each other through it. And that's a 365-day, that's not a one day a year requirement. So that's why we think Valentine's Day sucks. Chelsea will tell you she loves the flowers. We love the like romantic and doing things for each other, but we just don't believe we need to do it on one specific day. We'll do a little bit more on that day maybe, but that's something that goes around the clock all year round.
Well, I was just going to add to that too, just that when I got together, I noticed that he was very good with his money, very good. And almost too good, where it was like, oh,
that's this guy.
I have a coupon. Let's go for dinner. And and I appreciate that, and I love that about him too. But the other thing is like a markup on things on these holidays is not necessarily a financially pleasing thing either. Like just because you spend double on a bouquet of flowers doesn't make it that much more, it's honestly for us, like there's just so much of a emphasis on these these big holidays, so to speak. And like at the end of the day, go buy the flowers for your wife on a day where it's not a high retail markup day, and get them for her, maybe just more because. Often in the year, or just because, or, things like that. And for myself too, it's like, I love surprising Garrett with, little things throughout the year and little surprises. And so for us, it's like, there's no surprise. I mean, sometimes there can be on Valentine's Day. No, like, don't get me wrong. We don't want to take anything away from that. If that's what you do, that's what you do. But at the end of the day, you should be surprising each other and keeping that element of surprise alive in your relationship, no matter how far into it you are, because that's what keeps it exciting. That's what keeps the passion flowing, and so for us, it was just a kind of a no-brainer to just make it an all year thing instead of, just one day where it's like sacred.
Yes. I love that. Just so it should be a 365 Valentine's year is what it should be. And you're so right. And I love that. And that's something, especially as blended families, that can easily get swept away, because you have so many things getting pulled, right? I mean, especially your kids could be at your house one moment, and then they're not at your house the next moment. And you got so many different dynamics, and then you got the kids' events and school, and then you got your work, and we start getting pulled away, and we start losing that connection. Yeah. And when we start losing that connection, you start seeing it in your family. You start seeing more problems, more issues, kids acting out, and things of that. And so you're 100% right. I love that. Valentine's Day sucks. That should be like a motto right there. It's like, no, every day should be Valentine's Day. And that's so powerful. And whenever you work on that as a couple, and you work on doing little things, I know back when we first got into our blended family, I would try to do a big elaborate Valentine's Day thing, right? And because I thought that's what you do as a guy. And
Well, and I made it pretty clear because my birthday's February 11th.
oh, that's
Oh,
true.
And
okay.
so I would be like, Valentine's Day is always just like a second thought because, it's like they're combined. Your card is kind of Valentine's, kind of birthday written in there.
So it needs to be two separate things. I learned that from the very start. She was very upfront.
But then I also felt really bad because as a school teacher, we would have the big parties. And so I would come home on Valentine's Day with a box full of chocolate candies and flowers and all of this stuff. And then it's like to walk in and here's your another box of chocolate.
Right? Like you need more.
But I did, it was something early in our marriage that I did learn because I wouldn't try to continue building our relationship, right? Kind of like you're saying, you just let time go and life happen. And then on that one day, I would write like a really special note, like something really sweet or something. And, she would tell me then, she's like, I don't want it just to be like, this is the only day that you're telling me this. And that was a hit to me, whenever she opened her heart and shared that. And I'm like, wow, that's right. I don't do this enough. I don't do this throughout the year and do these little things to show you I love you and that I care for you. And you try to let Valentine's Day be the day that you do that. And so that is very powerful on saying, it needs to be an all the year thing, not just this one day. So I love that.
Especially if you have different, your love language is words of affirmation or quality time. If you're just waiting for the one day to say it,
Right?
Or maybe if there's a few holidays that, you're pouring your heart out, but it's just, you can't. And then if you miss that mark and you're waiting all the way till next year to get it the next time. He was also very good though, Valentine's, since we have a lot of girls in our house. And I was giving them something that day too, or, flowers or cards or chocolate for the girls as well. So
the guys don't like flowers. So you give your son flowers and they're like, what?
Yeah.
Weird.
What is this?
But so y'all mentioned that y'all do coaching. So y'all do coaching, y'all kind of help pour into the blended families that way. You have different platforms. I know you're on Instagram sharing value and stuff like that. What's like the first step? Like if you had a struggling couple that's coming, and what would be one advice that you would tell them if they're a blended family just coming together saying, man, this is tough. They're getting past the fairy tale stage and going, wait a minute. I didn't realize some of these problems are issues. Hey, we'll be back momentarily. Check out this announcement.
are you tired of complaining about your blended family and you just want to start enjoying it? Scarlett and Randall here, and that's where I was several years ago until Randall and we began to start searching and seeking out solutions for our family. We knew that we wanted this to be a success, but we didn't know how to get there. So we began searching and finding different resources. So we created this Mom's Quick Guide to Blending Her Stepfamily. It's a 5-step process for blending success. We took all the things that we've learned over the years and we put it in this one guide for you so that you can stop complaining about it like I was and start enjoying your family.
There's so much power whenever we actually start taking some of these steps. You see the momentum shift in your family. You see so much better results, more blessings. That's what we had found out whenever we started going through it, because things weren't working as good as we wanted. Things were okay, but we wanted it better. And whenever we started doing these things, man, we saw such a change. And we want that for your family as well. We want you to have this guide. It's 5 simple steps, 5 things that you can do that can help get you those results that you want. And right now, whenever you get your copy today, we're throwing in some extra bonuses just to sweeten the deal for you. So go get your copy with all the bonuses while we still have this offer going. The link will be in the show notes below. Now back to this episode.
Yeah. So, for us, the first step is to book a clarity call with us. We'll always say, if it doesn't feel aligned for you to work with us or to do coaching with us, there are plenty of other resources that we have that we've met over the years and we trust and we know and we like that we can even refer to. But most people, when they get on a clarity call with us and they see that we're just a blended family just like them, For them, it's that relatability piece. And, a lot of people say like, and there, 100%, we know that there's a time and a place for counseling. And we know this because we've gone to counseling and it is very valuable. The only thing that we will say is that the relatability piece isn't always there with counseling, because the counselor, the psychologist, isn't there to talk about themselves, isn't there to talk about their lives and relate to you. They want you to talk about your life, and they can give you perspective and ask you questions and that type of thing. Whereas for us, couples come to us and go like, oh my gosh, we're really struggling with, XYZ. And there's a pretty good chance that Garrett and I can look at them and go, we've been there. We know what that's like. We feel you. We can sympathize. We can empathize with you. We're right there with you. And it, probably wasn't that long ago either, like that we've gone through a very similar struggle. And so for us, that definitely the first step would be to get on, it's a complimentary call. And what we do is prior to the call, we like to ask people what areas they feel that they're struggling with the most. And during that call, we actually provide so much value for them, even just in that 45 minutes to an hour call, that a lot of the time, it leaves them wanting more. Because the resources and the relationship fitness test that we use has been around for like 40 years? Mm-hmm. So 40 years, it's impacted 4 million couples. It is a snapshot of your current relationship. And most people are like, oh, I really want to know what that looks like, and see the areas that they can improve on and see their strength areas that they can really build on and use during those tough times when things might not seem as nice.
So let me just ask, because what you're saying, so there's this like quiz type thing that they take beforehand, and then y'all come and y'all talk about it, or while y'all are on the call, you're asking these questions, and that's what's bringing in that clarity?
So the relationship assessment that we use, it's an assessment essentially. So what we do is if people decide after the clarity call to pursue coaching with us, it's the first step. So basically what they would get is it's a 300 question survey that they each fill out individually. It's very intensive. It asks a lot of questions about their upbringing, about previous relationships, about, different elements that would add to the current situation right now and how they've gotten to where they've gotten to. And basically what we do is once we receive those results back, we have what's called a breakthrough call. And that's a 90-minute intensive call where we go over all of the different results that they have been provided. Yeah. And so that way there, it also takes out any type of bias that we could have based on like what we know about them or anything, because the proof is in the assessment. Like what the material that we use is from them. And so, it's very useful in that we can actually be very, objective in terms of like, okay, this is why you're like this. And this is why, in this situation, you might react this way, and a lot of it has to do with like birth order and, different family life. Like we go kind of into the past a little bit, not too much, but it's all relevant things that we're pulling up. And so on this call, then we reveal these things to them, where a lot of them, a lot of people that have been on breakthrough calls with us are like, oh, wow, like I didn't even think about that, or I didn't even know that was going to be, that was going to come up. And so it's super powerful, and it's a really brilliant tool that we've incorporated into our coaching, and couples are really receptive to it. So.
Love that, and love the coaching aspect, right? Because coaching is so powerful that, there's so many couples out there, and I know as guys can be a little bit more reluctant to do counseling, right? And as blended families, there's so much power in the coaching aspect because it is people that have been there, done that. And I think we're, as that is growing, that community and coaches are coming and really able to pour into it, that people are able to move faster in a blended family. They're able to see more, work through more problems and issues and get those solutions that they're wanting through coaching. And, I always like to refer to it as this way. Michael Jordan needed a coach. He knew he needed a coach, right?
Yeah.
It's like every professional athlete or professional business person sees the power in coaches, because that's that third party looking in to see something that you may be missing, and it's so easy that we get trapped inside of our boxes, and we almost go through life with blinders on, to whereas a coach can start coming in and start seeing things that they may be missing to help give you that leg up to really help get in control and work past some of these issues that you keep seeing over and over again. So
Yeah, and it's so crazy how much we will invest in all kinds of other things, but not in our relationships. We'll pour out money all day long to these other things, but when it comes to the thing that's affecting like your attitude and your mood and even your physical health and everything, because when you're not strong in your relationships, it trickles down into all other aspects where we struggle to reach out and invest in that. And I don't know what it is about it, but when you can like switch that mindset and be like, no. And I love, because y'all do this, I believe I saw this on your Instagram, it's not even if it's broken, if there's a problem, there doesn't have to be an issue, but y'all help couples as well that just want to strengthen what they're already doing, right?
Yeah, we are big believers first and foremost in awareness, and that's what this assessment brings up, is the awareness to why you might be blocked in a certain area, or why conflict resolution might be a challenge over and over and over again because of how you're approaching it. And the awareness to the challenges is how we can move forward. And you can't fix what you don't know of. If you don't know there's a problem, how can you do anything about it? And a lot of people assume, this is why, or that might be why. And that's where the assessment uncovers all of that. And it really brings to light where the growth areas are. And then to your point, Scarlett, 100%, coaching isn't just as like a last resort where you're hanging by a thread. No, we are big believers that, you take your car in to get an oil change every 5,000 kilometers. You should be taking your relationship and doing reviews and regular assessments and updates, check-ins, like we like to call, weekly check-ins, bi-weekly check-ins. And it's important because prevention is a lot less painful, costly, and difficult than just regular maintenance. So that's the way we look at it. And, we appreciate working with all types of couples, but definitely if you're listening and your relationship is solid and strong, that doesn't mean that you don't necessarily would take any benefit from coaching, because there is a benefit to regular maintenance and kind of enhancing what is already strong. We're big believers in that.
So y'all have already given so much powerful information and nuggets and stuff. What is one piece of advice right now that has worked for you that you would give to a blended family couple right now? Just another piece of advice.
Yeah, so we have 3 P's, and they are persistence, patience, and prayer.
Love that.
And those 3 P's have been words that we've leaned into and actions we've taken. It doesn't happen overnight. That's the persistence piece. You can't expect it to be something that it won't be. That's the patience piece and kind of going with it. And the prayer piece. I mean, we've leaned into our faith stronger than ever at times during our 8 years. And we couldn't do it without the support, like you mentioned earlier, Randall, like church, family, friends, other blended couples, even the people we've met on Instagram. I mean, even just the 2 of you, like you 2 are part of our support team and vice versa. So it truly takes a village. So those 3 P's, put them on your fridge, put them in your phone, whatever it is, but remember that it is a process.
I was just gonna tag on to get what Garrett said about it takes a village. And at the end of the day, you need to lean into the people in your corner that are in support of your relationship and the people who are cheering you on, because a lot of times people can, rely on people who can't relate And, it makes it difficult because sometimes in some of those situations, misery loves company. And, they don't want to see your blended family succeed. They don't want to see you be happy again. There's certain, people are sometimes selfishly motivated, but if you've got a good village and a good support network of people who, even if it is just reaching out to a coach and having those people in your corner to cheer you on, if you have nobody else that's in the same dynamic as you are, then, just make sure that you're reaching out to somebody that can be relatable to you.
Love that. So the 3 P's: patience, persistence, and prayer. I hope all the listeners got that one and wrote that down, because that is powerful. I know prayer has kept us strong for 15 years that, without our faith, we probably would have been another divorce statistic. So, just staying connected with God. There's been so many times that we face some big problems to where God's the one who softened our hearts and really helped show and give us that connection and that path to get a solution that just worked and drew us closer together. So love that. That's so powerful. Well, we thank both of you for being here with us. Y'all have just provided so much information. I love the power of coaching, and that we got to talk about that as well, because there is so much power in coaches. And I love seeing that now. I wish we had that a long time ago, right? But it is here, and there's so much power. So how can our listeners right now, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, so as you said earlier, we are on Instagram primarily. That is like our platform of choice. We're transformed.couples. You can also find us at transformedcouples.com if you want more information about our coaching and some of the services and courses and stuff that we provide. And then we're also on Facebook with Transformed Couples Coaching. So definitely can find us in all of those places. And there will be a few new things coming this year that you'll want to look out for.
Awesome. We love that. And we'll put those links in our show notes below, so everybody listening, we'll have those easy clickables to jump over there.
And I just want to add, they always have just valuable nuggets, like daily pieces. That's why when I follow y'all, and a lot of times I share y'all stuff as well, because it's just, it speaks to my heart, and it tells me like, okay, I'm not alone, or turn it to God, whatever it is. It's just one of these things. It's like, aha, yes, that's good information that I needed today.
Well, we appreciate that. And that's really one of our goals. When we sat down and we created Transformed Couples, it was first and foremost to provide value and to help people feel as though they have others who are in the same boat, dealing with the same challenges, but also to know that there is hope, there is opportunity, and there's growth. And so I love hearing that, Scarlett. Thank you for sharing, because we do want others to feel as though they're getting value, but they're also seen and they're heard and they're listened to. And we really take pride in that, because it's easy to get wrapped up in that blended family negative kind of spiral that's out there,
especially on social media.
And that is a dangerous place to go. So we want to be a bit of a light, so to speak, but at the same time acknowledge the realities of what it is, and that sometimes there are some challenges, some bigger hills to climb.
Yep, no doubt. Well, we thank the two of you for being that light, for continuing to be a light in the blended family community, for your hearts and pouring in and connecting resources and tools and just helping be there, along with sharing your faith as well. It's powerful. And I know our listeners and everybody in the blended family community benefit from that. So thank the two of you. Thank you for jumping in here on this call. I know all the listeners have just grabbed a lot of stuff from this, man. And this one that you just want to go back and re-listen to and be like, oh yeah. 3 P's. I got that. So no, thank you two again for being here. We're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up, but Valentine's Day, let this be not just one day out of the year, but let it be 365 days of just doing small little things to show
Yes.
the ones in your family that you love them and you care.
And can I add just one more thing? Instead of getting the roses, get them a coaching call.
Hey,
Give them a
hey.
clarity call
There
with
you
a
go.
couples coach and take it. Your wife will love it if you're a husband listening, because I mean, it's just
There
do
you
it.
go.
Just do it.
There's a Valentine's Day gift. Right
Yes.
there. Well, thank the two of
Okay.
you again. This has been fun. I'm sure this won't be the last time. So we will see everyone on the next episode. Bye, guys.
Goodbye. Thank
Bye,
you.
thanks.
Hey, thanks for joining us today for another episode of Enjoying Your Blended Family. All the links we've talked about today, they're in the show notes below. If you've enjoyed listening, be sure to subscribe below. It's free and it lets you know when we have another episode for you to listen to.
And if you want to help us out, leave us a rating and review so that we can keep reaching more people. Until next time, remember to enjoy the moment.